All right, so up next is Sam O'Leary, the CEO of SLM Solutions. And Sam, we're going to stream your presentation here just momentarily. And then just as a reminder, after the culmination of the presentation, you and I will just have a real quick chat, the way you kind of saw Steve and I just did.
Great. So thanks, Salik, and thanks, everybody. I appreciate the opportunity today to talk to you a little bit about SLM Solutions. We're a technology pioneer and innovation leader in the field of selective laser melting, which is the leading metal additive technology. It accounts for about 90% of the global install base of metal additive manufacturing equipment. We're a big player in this market. We have an install base of over 750 very high-value machines currently operational. And we've delivered many of the industry firsts, the first machine to market, the first dual laser to market, and most recently we've delivered a game changer in terms of this technology, and I'll talk a little bit more about that as we get through the presentation. Alongside that, we've got a huge IP portfolio of very relevant patents, and more than 500 of the world's finest engineers in this industry. And perhaps for those of you who are not so familiar with metal additive manufacturing, it's a technology that provides a plethora of hugely impactful benefits. Design freedom. This is essentially giving you complexity for free. And if you have complexity for free in terms of design, that means you get performance enhancement for free. So maybe if we can go to the next slide. Alongside that, we think about lead time. One of the great things about metal additive manufacturing, you can really consider new product development, having a version of a new product. Instead of a year for complex products, you can have something within 24 hours. This really changes the way you can think about product development and think about how you manage your design process. In terms of process efficiency, you can operate with zero inventory. So management of working capital and cash conversion cycle is impacted in an extremely positive way. And from a supply chain perspective, very topical, of course, at the moment, you simply make what you need, when you need it, where you need it. And alongside that, there's huge environmental benefits, not only in not shipping components across the world, but this is a process that produces complex parts with almost zero waste. Moving on to the next slide, Slik. It's a rapidly growing market. I like all the statements of the people before me. And firstly, think about as this technology develops, we're currently impacting only a very small amount of the traditional manufacturing market. What we're doing with driving this technology and driving the productivity of this market, of this technology, is not just accessing the significant growth that's expected already, but hopefully opening up more of the traditional manufacturing market by bringing technology that has cost parity or even cost benefits over very traditional manufacturing processes, whilst also adding all of the other benefits that I mentioned on the previous slide. So moving on to the next slide, we have already a very huge and impressive install base of more than 750 machines. But what's more important than the number is specifically where those machines are at. Across all industries, the very companies that will drive mass adoption of this technology across civil aviation, defense, space, energy, automotive, medical, and other applications. These are the driving force, and these are people that we've been involved with over many years, enhancing the technology and delivering production applications for our existing fleet. So moving on to the next slide, I mentioned about our history of being a technology pioneer within this industry. We had the first system to market. We were the first with a dual laser system, the first with a quad laser system, and the product that we've just launched a year ago is a 12 laser system. Now, these are not just numbers in terms of the number of lasers that sit within the system. They are exactly the driver around system productivity. And what that gives you is huge benefits in output cost per part. And that is the fundamental enabler to mass adoption. Nobody will ever argue with you that this technology delivers performance enhancement in terms of geometrical design freedom or inventory advantage. The missing piece of the jigsaw has always been cost parity with traditional manufacturing methodologies, and this is really a huge step towards that. So a little bit more detail on the next slide about just what it is. It is purely a game changer. It's bigger than anything else, and it's light years ahead of anything else in terms of productivity. Looking at the next chart, just to give you a little bit of perspective around that, our SLM 500 machine was the most productive machine on the market. Maybe we can move forward one Selig, please. Was already offering a significant advantage on everything else in the marketplace. But as you can see on the chart on the right-hand side, the NXG is giving a productivity increase of 500% on those already market-leading machines. On top of that, if you compare this to the majority of the single laser install base that is currently operating for production applications with this technology, it's 20 times faster than that. So if you think there was a business case existing for complex components using a machine with one laser that is taking an awful long time to produce components, just think about the impact of 20 times the speed, and along with that, a significant cost reduction in the output per component. Just moving on to the next slide, please, Selig. We're also enabling customers to do more with enhanced software solutions. FreeFlow is a product that we launched last year. Again, at its fundamental base, it is designed to reduce the cost per part for our customers and enable more application. This is something that we give for free to our customers operating our installed base, because quite simply it drives more application, it drives end cost per output down, and of course drives further demand by enabling new application cases. Next slide, just to give a little bit of comparison about what it actually means. Everything that we do as a business is focused around enabling our customers to do more and driving the industrialization of this technology. That means everything that we do is focused around open architecture. You saw in the previous slides, our customers are the world's biggest organizations. They're the very people that have been using this technology for a great deal of time. They've developed know-how, and for us, giving them the capability to utilize that know-how, take a base of the technology that we deliver, but fundamentally be able to manipulate that and be able to develop an extra competitive advantage in that industry is something that they consider of great value, and is something that is fundamental to how we think about how we run our business. If you give a customer a black box solution that just says, hey, parameters are fixed, this will give you a good output, but there is no way you can change that, this creates a Me Too situation where everybody can output the same, gives no competitive advantage, and fundamentally inhibits progression and inhibits innovation. So on the next slide, I've got a great advantage of how this performance enhancement of component manifests itself in real life. This is an NXG machine-enabled application for Porsche. It's enabling their EV technology. In its simplest form, it delivers a component that is reduced vastly in terms of weight. It combines multiple components into a single build, a single print. It improves the rigidity of the component by over 100%, and also removed 40 manufacturing process steps. If you think about that in terms of, again, cost and simplicity of process and ability for any factory to be able to produce and deliver this, it is a huge impact. And this is just one example of the thousands of things we see day to day where this technology impacts everything from electric vehicles to rocket engines and everything in between, delivering the capability to make complex parts very quickly, very effectively, and deliver all the advantages that I mentioned earlier. Moving on to the next slide, we are a business that is delivering 2 consecutive years of meeting our guidance, 2 consecutive years of growth in excess of 20%. We've already given guidance for this year of at least 33% growth, and 2026 expected revenue levels of at least 5x what we have delivered in 2021. Alongside that, we have a clear path to break even on a quarterly basis in the second half of this year. and really continue to push forward with the strength of our existing portfolio, with the impact that the NXG is already having in the market. In fact, we just released information today on one of the prominent service bureaus in the industry ordering 2 of these machines to be delivered starting later this year. And finally, on the last slide I've got here is just to show that we're set up for growth with everything in place. We've been building the infrastructure, the people, everything that we need to deliver on this growth. So we have a high operating leverage. The introduction of the NXG and the continued growth across our portfolio will result in a significant EBITDA improvement as we progress through the following months, and of course as our revenue continues to grow through the following reporting periods too. So with that, I hope I've given you a bit of background about who we are and more importantly the direction that we are taking, and I would be very happy to open it up for further questions.
I really appreciate
working for Alstom Power at the time. I think you speak to most people who understand this industry and this technology, they will echo my sentiments that the SLM has always been a technology leader and pioneer within the industry. Going back to 2 years when I joined, what was very clear was the element of industrializing that technology was missing. Running the business properly, developing the products in a way that would meet the requirements of regulated industries. So that is in fact, if you will, the somewhat boring and mundane things that need to happen in the background. Configuration control, developing products based on data, releasing products that are completely tested and understood, that we've got a process that drives consistency from machine to machine. You cannot deliver a machine to a Safran or a Honeywell and have one machine sitting next to the other and having different results coming from both machines. It's having something that is boringly reliable and consistent from machine to machine, and that's what we've focused on as a leadership team. So I've brought in industry experts that come from companies like Boeing, companies like Airbus, companies like Daimler, companies like GE that are familiar with how to develop and industrialize very complex technology, and that is really the missing link. I think that the industry has been crying out for just give me a product that is boringly reliable and outputs brilliant products in a guaranteed way, and that's exactly what we focus on with the core portfolio and with the new product.
Perfect. Thanks, Sam. I've got 2 questions that came in as well, so just in the interest of time, I'll turn over to those. The first one says is, how have supply chain disruptions affected your ability to deliver or maintain machines in the field?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I would be very happy to sit here and say that it has had 0 impact. Looking at this is clearly not the case. Looking at the numbers that we released, the prelim numbers, we've managed to deliver a significant growth in 2021, even given the supply chain constraints. And it's a double-edged sword if you think about it. We have benefited from supply chain issues in that people have accelerated their use and adoption of this technology to solve supply chain problems. But equally, I can then not go back and promise a solution to our customers for their supply chain difficulties and use a global supply chain crisis as an excuse not to deliver. Now, the great thing is we can also produce a lot of the components that we use in our equipment on our own machines, so we can mitigate supply chain issues there. The one area that we have suffered with is the availability of electronics. Up to now, we've managed to mitigate that. It takes an awful lot more of my time than I would like. But it's something that we've been able to manage and mitigate through very difficult actions. I would say in some of our product lines, we've even had to change the configuration based on the availability of controls and electronic equipments. And we've been very dynamic in how we've managed to deal with that to ensure that we can deliver for our customers. So it has been and it is a continued difficulty, but one I think we're navigating well as a business.
Perfect. Thank you, Sam. And just in the interest of time, let me just try to sneak in one more question if I could. Again, this is from one of the attendees as well. It is, you mentioned you were open. Can you tell us about some of the partners that you work with?
We can, and there is this is a huge list that is evolving day by day. So the way I think about this is, we are a developer of the technology, but in order for this technology to be adopted on a completely open and industrial scale, it needs to have an understanding that people in different industries will have different perspectives. They will have different preferences in the type of build preparation software that they will like to use, the type of materials or where they would like to see that material come from, or indeed any other types of software, post-processing equipment. Now, I'm pragmatic enough to tell you that I cannot provide as a business a solution for all of these elements. We need the help of others. And I'm also pragmatic enough that I like to see the market develop in a rapid way. So we offer APIs, for example, to companies like Dendrite, to Materialize, to Siemens, to comparing with things at the opposite end of the spectrum. We open up, for example, our build plate dimensions, so post-processing companies can go to market and offer solutions that help people in kind of downstream elements of the process chain. We've just announced agreement with distributed manufacturing companies. We've announced agreements for blockchain technology where people can issue build files across the globe without the worry of disclosing IP. So it is very open. We work with material manufacturers. Every single element of what makes an end customer successful with additive manufacturing, we're open to partnership for the benefit of our end customers. And this is, like I say, a huge list, and one that is expanding daily for the benefit of our existing and future customers.
Sam, I really do appreciate all the responses, the presentation. Yeah, unfortunately, we're short on time, but would love to kind of reconnect and keep the dialogue going. So, again, we really appreciate you taking the time talking to us about SLM Solutions today.
Thank you, Sleek, and everybody else. Appreciate the opportunity.